Okay, can we take this out? Can we take this again? I'm going to delete this. Okay, 3, 2, 1. What the cast?
What the cow?
What the cast?
Hey, what the gosh, yeah? What are you
Okay.
talking about? And we're rolling.
What's up? What the cast? And we're back with episode number 2. Bryden, take it away. Tell us what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. Welcome back to What the Cast, the random talk show where everything is cool and everything is not real. Where your hosts, me, Maz, and our Cyclops twin, whatever you want to call him, Kiran.
Yo, why am I? Okay, this time I'm back and I'm not blowing in the mic and I'm not a Cyclops.
And you're not going to see your SpongeBob or Mr. Krabs daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we're back on What the Cast, the random talk show, as I just mentioned. The first episode we uploaded got beautiful, like an amazing response, and we just want to say thank you. Let's get right into it. We don't want to waste a lot of time. We want to just get into the episode 2 of season 1. Okay, so today's episode, interesting one.
Today we have a special guest with us. Can someone give me a drum roll, please? Yeah, okay, that's good enough.
Yeah.
So today we have a very, very special guest who was a quiet person in 11th and 12th, but then she went on to lead a huge mafia of cats. And she plays games. She likes games. Introducing Anaum.
Hi, I like my intro. That was interesting. I really do want a mafia of cats. That would be cool.
Something to look forward to then.
Exactly. So yeah, like they said, I play games. I'm really interested in games, and I'm excited to talk to these guys about games in this episode. So
Yeah, and we're super cool. Happy that you could make it and you could come on this episode and talk to us, and talk to everyone else.
Yeah,
Yep.
thanks for taking out some time to invest your time into our random idea.
Yeah.
For everyone.
So we've gotten Anam for one specific reason, where she's one hell of a gamer. She can beat all of our asses at COD. We cannot compare any other person. I wouldn't even say a girl. I wouldn't compare any other person who plays that well and can level up so fast other than our very own Anam. So we'll just begin with Anam just talking about herself. You can introduce yourself.
okay. First, I'm not that crazy a gamer. I am decent. I am not a mad gamer. What are you saying?
Yo,
Said
listen,
good game.
Oh my
Anam,
God.
Anam just, she's like super humble. If you see her playing, you guys would actually knock yourselves out of the park for yourselves, because like she's one hell of a gamer. And like, oof, don't even get me started.
Bro, when I
Okay,
saw her
so
gaming, the oxygen supply cut out.
Oh, okay, so now since we're talking about games, I'll just talk about how I got into gaming. So that basically comes from my brother. He's really interested in gaming. So watching him play games, I started getting interested in it. And in that way, through learning from him, I also became better at playing games. I learned properly how to play, like they said, Call of Duty. He's really good. So I have practiced in the way that I want to beat him at one point of time, which I'm not able to do because he's really good. So yeah, so it's because of him that I mostly got into games. And then I started discovering like there are many different types of games apart from just like first person shooters and racing games and stuff. There are a lot of other games which I am more interested in. So
like, before we talk about like the games you're interested in and stuff, let's just go in like, into general, like connecting it to our last episode on nostalgia. Even games have an amazing like effect, and like like I can just think about it and go crazy all day about all the games that I lost my head, playing as a kid
Same,
growing up.
same.
Yeah. So like I think even Mars and Kiran also would like they would like psych out if they even started talking about some of the games. Like I remember I think it was like 2 weeks back when Mars suddenly all of a sudden he just discovered Serious Sam. I think Anam also knows about it. And then he went completely bonkers over it, and he's like, yo, shit, and then he just downloaded it and he just kept playing it and playing it. And I feel there's a reason behind it, because that kind of sparks, I would say, sparks like those warm feelings, like, yes, I'm a kid again, everything's fine, everything's fun in games, there isn't life to deal with and shit.
Yeah, I recently discovered GTA Vice City again, and I just go back to me playing it as a kid. Just coming back from school, eating chocos, drinking Tang. I still remember I had my old monitor, my old CPU. I used to play on what, Windows 7. That was like the hype back then. And it's just the memories associated with the game that brings back those beautiful memories from my childhood. And a lot of people can relate to it. Games such as Need for Speed Most Wanted, even if you are not a gamer, you should remember Miniclip, or like Zapak games or something. Those things were insane. I'm pretty sure Kiran would be playing dress up games from girlsgogames.com or something. Kiran, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, why
Bro,
not?
why am I the
Kiran.
person who's I've never played this? Wait, the max I played was this one game where you make cakes. Oh, that was amazing. I don't know if you all remember that.
Yo, I played it all day, I remember it.
Exactly, that was good. Well, but anyways, talking about old games, some of the other old games like Road Rash, that was really good. They taught me how to have road rage on the road and kick people off bikes and stuff. That was good.
Yo, kids, be
And
safe, don't do any of this shit he's saying. Kiran's
yeah,
just like,
always
he's like, what's that guy from uh, Top Gear? Stig. Stig.
Hammond, Richard Hammond. Oh, the Stig.
Yeah, Stig.
Wait, I'm the Stig. Hey, yo, thanks for the compliment, bro.
Hey, welcome,
I'm
bro.
the Stig. That's good. Yeah, but
Yeah.
anyways, all like games have evolved quite a lot. Like from when we started out playing those, like when we didn't know much about the internet, we used to play that mine thing on the PC, or like solitaire or something, and then from there it went to like Game Boys and playing Pokemon. Then it went to the PSP, and then it went. And it's keep on
Talking
going.
about old consoles, you're a Game Boy kid, and I
Yeah,
grew up with the PSP.
bro.
So
The PSP came after the Game Boy, huh? Or did
I
it?
know
I don't know.
I'm
Huh.
younger
It
than
did,
you,
right?
right?
You know what? Since there's a conflict, even I don't know, I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah, just Google it. Just Google it right now.
Till Bryden searches for the dates of our consoles, Anam, why don't you talk about what was your first console when you started, gaming?
So my first console was a Nintendo DS, DSi though. So it was also my brother's, hence even I got one. And my first few games were pretty baby, but I still like playing them, like Cooking Mama, and there's this other Cake Mania game. And then I had this Tom and Jerry game. I had downloaded a Zelda game, and of course, eventually I got to Pokemon. And yeah, then it's only when a lot of time later that I was able to play games on like the PS or things like that. So
That's good.
Once you got into like, once you get into that Pokemon level, once you hit Pokemon, there's no going back. You just gotta keep playing it and playing it and playing it and playing it till you either lose the cassettes, or you just lose your Game Boy, or they confiscate it for exams. That's how the rule was. That's how it was. That's
Oh
how.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so then
hated that.
going back a few steps on that little search I did. So Kiran was right. surprisingly, March 24th, 2005, the PSP launched, and April 21st, 1989 was when the Game Boy launched.
Oh my gosh.
Explains why
Wow.
Kiran's Anaum till now.
Hey, listen. Even I was a Game Boy kind of dude, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Explains why both of your uncles now.
So, talking about Game Boys, yesterday I was in one of these old boxes which I found in my loft, and I found this little bag, and I opened it, and there was a cartridge of Game Boy. I mean, Game Boy. I mean, Pokemon Ruby edition. Okay, and so I was curious, and I searched it up online, and the cartridge is worth 20 grand now. 20 grand for a cartridge that I don't know how much we paid for, like $100 or something back in the day.
Yeah, so as you can or as you found out yesterday that these things are antique now, but more than the value that they hold today, I feel the emotional value that they're connected to each one of us who've played them, and the memories that are what do you say connected with those games and those experiences is what I feel is worth more. So like selling something like that today just because it's worth 20 grand or $300 or whatever doesn't make sense to me personally, because I feel might as well keep it. Every time you pick it up, every time you come past it, you're just going to feel all warm and cotton candy inside you, because you're like,
Oh yeah, like definitely, bro, definitely. Like you wouldn't sell something that close to you that has so many memories to you, right?
yeah, exactly.
Totally agree. I would never sell it. I would just keep it in the box that I have, right? Just keep it in the box and like open it up in another 5 years and be like, yo, these are some good times back in the past, and just close it and keep it back. Never sell it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's for. I feel that's why you should keep those things. That's why you should not throw these kind of things away. And yeah, so moving on, we don't want to get stuck into this one realm of like PSP and Game Boys. Going to the summary of this whole thing, all these games, Super Mario, Smash Bros, Mario Kart, and all the other titles that have come out over the time past the course of 20 years that we've been living on this planet, or 17 or less, or 18, whatever. I just feel they've just influenced every single child, every single kid, every single adult, young adult, just has forever and ever this memory that's kind of transfixed itself subconsciously to or with the gaming experience. Every time you see a poster of Mario, you just reminded of this time where you're sitting on your mom's lap and you were just sipping on some hot chocolate, having tea. Let's be real, you don't have hot chocolate in India during the summer and shit. Let's stick to tea and coffee or milk even. And yeah, so I just feel like all of those in a very open sense is romantic, and not just guy and girl sort romantic. If you're a literature kind of guy or a literature kind of girl or whatever, you realize that romance isn't just transfixed to guys and girls. It's also to just memories and good stuff that makes you feel good on the inside. So before I turn this into a philosophical mess, let's move on and let other people speak. Take it away.
So moving on, Anam, let's get back to you. Let's talk about some of your favorite games. Like, what has been one of the most intense games you've ever played?
Hmm. For me, the most intense game would be a very recent game that I played. It's known as Near Automata. I don't know if many people know about the game, but it's also like my absolute favorite now. It has a really big story, and the fighting in that is not that easy. So you really have to be good. No, wait, sorry. What you really have to learn the controls properly and level them up properly to play certain missions. So, and the whole plot of the game is quite interesting because it's just built on one big lie. And it shows how one lie can turn something into absolute havoc in the end of the game. So,
That's nice. You know what my favorite game is?
what?
I'm trying to remember.
What?
Uh, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas on my PSP.
What
I
is
it,
that?
it it's the same developers as Splinter Cell. Tom Clancy's
Oh,
Splinter
Splinter
Cell,
Cell.
so it's like Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas. It was one of the best games I've had on my PSP. You know, those UMD discs that I had Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, some good games. You know, PSP was way ahead of its time. Maybe if they released it now, it would have, you know, skyrocketed the market. But I don't know. It was maybe the wrong time to release such a divine device, and you know they don't make that anymore. So it's sad. And I sold my PSP back in 10th grade, I guess, because I wanted to buy a waveboard, and now I regret it so much.
Oh, when you mentioned Prince of Persia, that really gave me goosebumps because it reminded me of like my brother used to play on the PS2, the same game, Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. So my mother and I would sit and watch him play, and there were a lot of puzzles and stuff. So my mom used to take part, and she tell like, "What you maybe you should do this, maybe that." So it was really nice because even watching that, I also started, like I said, started learning a few things about gaming here and there.
Yeah, okay. And another thing is arcade games. I mean, we've seen it all in movies and on television. No one watches television anymore. We've seen it on Netflix and we've seen it in movies and on YouTube and stuff. Arcade games are so beautiful, and we unfortunately we never got a chance to play any of them except the ones in like in Time Zone and stuff in like the malls. Have you guys remember Time Zone, right?
Yeah, it's still a thing,
No,
bro.
I'm an amoeba kid. I don't talk, bro.
I mean,
Mm.
even we know Amoeba, but still, like I'm saying, like the places like Time Zone and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Those
Both the
kind of places.
places have a good range of arcade games.
Yeah, like it's basically like a, what do you say, like a relationship, because like the games that Amoeba doesn't have, Time Zone does, and some of them that they don't have, Amoeba does. So it's a mutual kind of a thing. As Kiran mentioned, um, none of us are ever gonna experience arcade games the way they were, but I don't know if any of y'all guys have experienced it. But I fondly or personally remember as a kid going to this one guy's shop. It was just a normal, grocery shop, and I used to just go there not to just buy groceries and things. I used to go there for his arcade machine, and he had all the classics. He had freaking Mario and like what do you call the little star shooter thing. I can't remember what it's called. Centipede, and oof, and that shit was like, whoa, yo, playing small like games that were like on a small screen on such a huge screen was like, like explosion in my brain, sort of, uh, like a feeling. So like, yeah, but I feel no one else, none of today's kids will ever experience that kind of joy of just putting a coin in, telling the uncle, yo, could you just put it on for like 5 minutes and just pay him like 10 or $20, and then the whole world is yours. You just get to sit there in front of that thing and take it away while people watch and wait for their turn. That was like a feeling, I feel.
For me, arcade basically, again, even I don't remember much, but I think at one point in time, I did play, they were Tekken type also with that analog and the three colored buttons and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Oh
yeah, yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing that at least once at some point in time, and that was the best. For me, no other arcade game beats that.
Yeah, yeah, I swear, I swear. I mean, that's what I said, right? Even like that, all of these arcade machines, those were like the shit. Because firstly, there was the psychological thing of like, yo, everybody's standing and watching you, so you gotta like, beast at whatever you're doing. And also the fact that it's a huge kind of a huge interface, like not what you're usually used to watching at that time or playing on. And then like everyone's like, oh shit, and like you can just feel that presence of like sitting in front of a crowd and like showing them your talents. So yeah, I feel those are like, oof, memories, man.
Oh yeah, like even the sounds and everything that was in those machines, like dun, 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 like it all added to the whole experience. And then like I feel that's where like peer pressure started, where everyone's like, yo, come on, you have to do this, you have to do this, and people like, yeah, bro, I'll go try and beat the high score. And then you leave the place like having the highest score on the game, and then you sort of like, yo, I'm the best at this, and you walk out feeling like a boss, and no one else can beat you. Oh, it was some good stuff.
So since you mentioned arcade games, it reminded me back in Saudi when I was 10 or 11 years old. You know those whack-a-mole games in arcades.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had got the high score at one point of time in that game. I just
and
suddenly remembered that.
and this girl says that she's not that good of a gamer.
We can just imagine like a little cute girl just smashing like right. All those guys will be like sir, no wait, habibi, are you all right?
Yeah, so anyways, Anam's like a really good gamer, irrespective of what she says, or yeah, obviously you shouldn't be extra proud and be like, yo, I'm the shit, nobody can touch me. Yeah, that's being a real piece of shit person. But despite her humbleness and shit, she is really, really good. We've seen her play, we played against her, we've cried being guys. And that sentence brings me to the next topic, that there are so many freaking stereotypes attached to not only, just not only gaming in general, but since it's our topic of discussion today, gaming for girls, or, on the female side of things, oh my God, the amount of stereotype that, like they just stereotype girls and like, oof. And I feel even Anam can relate to some of this.
Yeah, so I just remembered, Anam, Kiran has some questions for you. Kiran, just take it away.
Anna, what you have for lunch, bro?
Chana puri.
Oh no, not
Bro, the
those
question,
questions.
the
Oh,
actual
sorry. Okay.
question.
The question. Okay, yeah. Let me get my phone. Hold on.
Oh, you're dumb.
Okay, so these questions. I mean, they're not exactly questions, or just like things that people talk about. From BuzzFeed. Wait, we won't get copyright for saying that. No.
No, it's
The
good that
first.
you're mentioning the place from you got it, the source from where you got it from. So continue.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So the first one is Anam. How does it feel to be constantly be referred to as a gamer girl and just not a gamer?
Well, being called a gamer itself is nice, but since, like he said, there are a lot of stereotypes behind girls playing games, and like you said, gamer girl, it feels even better in that sense because then you're considered as like this other type of level in games because you're a girl and you play games well. So personally, I don't mind it at all. I actually like it, but like I said, I don't think I'm that much of a gamer, so
So the next one is people just usually generalize girls as generalize them by saying, yeah, they only play either Candy Crush or Cooking Mama or something.
uh, well, Cooking Mama was one of my first games, and it actually is really nice. But I don't only play games like that, and it's actually pretty annoying sometimes when people say that, and I really want to tell like, no, not all of them play only games like that. We play those games when we're kids.
That's
And
only for babies.
even if they play Cooking Mama and dress up games, it's perfectly normal. Everyone plays those games as beginners. They're just too ashamed to say it at times.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, even I've played Cooking Mama and all of that stuff. Even Zelda, people call it like, I don't personally think so, but a lot of people consider Zelda also to be like a really girl game to play. But yo, come on, that game has a beautiful storyline, has an amazing visuals, it has beautiful characters, and everything is just amazing. So, like Anam said, these stereotypes just make it really, 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 I would say, difficult for people to for anyone to actually live, like, see, because let's face it, right, there's just a really limited amount of people, or limited amount, or a limited group out there that think this way. Not everyone thinks like this, right? It's just that their values, like, over a period of time have just changed, or it's just been very concrete, hasn't been dynamic enough to accept change and accept the fact that yeah, you can be a girl and you can still play Call of Duty and you can be really good at it, much better than freaking 90% of the guy gamers out there, and that's fine because talent isn't a thing that's restricted to a gender, right? Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So as she said, like everyone, even I've played freaking Zelda and Cooking Mama when I was a kid, and when I had my Game Boy. Yeah, obviously that was the shit. But that's what you like when you're a kid, man. Come on. Even when I was a kid, I freaking watched. I used to watch Barbie. Goddammit, I used to watch Powerpuff Girls, even though that wasn't considered a girly show. But still, like just for the guys who are out there, the youngies out there who think of it that way, and I'm just saying, yeah, as he said, as kids we all play shit, and when you grow up, it's your choice. Like Elon Musk let his kid decide his gender, you can let girls decide what they want to play, what they want to be.
Oof. Oh,
Intense. But yeah,
Elon
it's
Musk.
not
Oh my
only
God.
it's not only about gender, but we see, everywhere we see a lot of bullying and things like that, and it's just up to the person what they want to play, and it's just what they like. You can't just judge a person because they play that certain game. There's a lot of bullying where gun games or racing games are considered manly, and if you play other things you're like a girl. That's not okay, because trust me, as much as I love gun games and racing games, I like other stuff too. Like I love cooking games. I'm pretty sure growing up you would have played some Papa Louis games, like Papa's Pizzeria, Papa's Tacoria, Papa's, I don't know, something Ria. But all those are cooking games. How is that okay? And how do you compare some other cooking game and call it girly? How is cooking a girly thing? Don't you eat food? Wouldn't you want to cook and eat to survive? How is that a gender thing? Some people don't make sense. Like, I mean, cooking is a normal thing. Like, it's a common thing. You eat to survive. All humans do, not only men, not only women. Everybody needs to eat to survive. So I don't see it as a wrong thing. But same thing with games. Any game, it's up to the person who wants to play it. They want to play gun games, good for them. They want to play racing games, good for them. They want to play any goddamn game, it's up to them. Don't judge a person about what games they play. I mean, at least in the gaming community, it's not that bad. But yeah, I do see a lot of people saying, "Hey, don't play that game. That's for like kids, and we should play manly game. Play gun game, like Call of Duty. That's a man's game. Nah, all that. Just play whatever you want to play." Kiran, go on with the questions.
And another
Yeah.
thing, I don't know why they consider being called like, oh, if you play that game, you're a girl, an insult. I don't get it. Why is being called a girl an insult?
Yo, so look, I know before Maz and Anam said what they said, I went a little too deep and too hard on that really simple question or answer, whatever that was. But the reason behind my saying or whatever I just spoke about is because look, consider it this way, okay? If you see a small little crack in your wall and it's leaking and you let it be, eventually that crack's going to spread and it's going to develop into like the whole wall's going to go, or at a point in time it's going to break and all the water's going to come out, right? That same exact concept applies to this, even though it's just as simple as gaming. And I know the comments, people are going to have their own opinions, and yeah, we respect that here on What the Cast. But personally, I feel the moment, listen to this, okay? The moment you start stereotyping girls and genders and all of that kind of stuff, and you start reserving certain games, it starts at a root level. The moment you start reserving a certain amount of things just for girls and saying, yeah, girls should stick to this, they shouldn't come to this side, that is where the problem lies. And look, all the stuff that's happening today, 2020, the lockdown, and all the rights and all of that, over over in Florida and everywhere, and the thing that happened and is happening to the people there is all somehow somewhere related to a small little thing that was told to them as a kid, or taught to them as a kid, or their concepts that they've just learned over time. I don't mean to start a conflict, it's all peace and love over here at Watercast, but if we don't mend our mentality, if we don't start breaking stereotypes, and not just saying it and writing books about it and publishing it just to get publicity and popularity, but doing it and not being a hypocrite about the whole thing, you got to break stereotypes. And yeah, obviously some at one point in my life, even I wouldn't accept the fact that a girl would play football or cricket. I found it funny even, but then at that point in my life, I was really young. I was like below 14 or 14. I can't recall. But now from that point, I have changed, and my ideologies and thoughts with it. So that's what everyone should be doing. We should be growing every second we live on this earth, or it makes no sense. We're just gonna pull everyone else down with us, and we're never gonna develop. So that's the reason why it's getting so deep. So I feel now we should move on to Kiran's questions. Hear the rest of it.
Well said, man. Well said.
Raiden is always extremely philosophical and deep.
I know. Cut.
It's
Okay,
no,
moving
what
on
you
to a
said.
lighter note.
What you said is perfectly right. So it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Very important question. Did you like our first episode, Anaum?
Oh yeah, I really did like the first episode because I have also watched all those cartoon shows, and listening to you guys talk about it made me also remember the times when I watched those shows. The only thing is, I don't know why you found Courage the Cowardly Dog scary. I enjoyed that show completely.
We enjoyed it. It was just that not the whole show in particular was scary. It was just certain characters and certain episodes.
That's true. But I've heard from a lot of people that they like, oh no, it was scary, so I didn't watch it. It's I don't know why.
So to conclude this episode on games and what all we played in our past and Anaum still plays, and like, we just don't play that much anymore. I like to tell you all the story about Bryden. It's beautiful. It's an amazing story. And bro, which grade were you in at that time, though?
I was in 9th grade. Wait, what are you talking about?
Bro, it's the story, bro.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay, go on.
Okay, so Bryden was at home and he was playing Need for Speed Most Wanted, which, just to say, one of the most intense stories that I've ever played, and I bet Bryden, Mars, and Anam also have played. So Bryden was at home, and there's this thing in the list where this thing in the game where you go up this thing called the blacklist, where you start racing cars and then you go to the top. So I think he was on what number, bro? Blacklist number 5 or something, right?
Yo, I was almost on to blacklist number 4, and I was this close to getting the car.
Exactly. Okay, so he was on blacklist number 4. I mean, going on to number 4, and something happened. I don't know what happened, and he crashed. Okay, and he lost the race, and the dude got so pissed off that he got up, he stood up, he stared at his laptop and punched it, and he bent it, and he broke it through the laptop, and it just sat down. That's it. That was the end. R.I.P. laptop.
He smashed the screen like
Oh damn.
boom, gone.
Yo, for my, just to back myself up, I was so exhausted, and I had already dedicated so many freaking precious hours of my life getting lectured, getting headaches, and like all the eye watering and dehydration and all of that just to get up there. And I was so close, and then this damn thing hangs, okay, because it was like a 2008 Pentium Pentium processor laptop from HP, and it was so freaking slow. It was like losing its mind while I was playing that race, and the race was getting intense, and it couldn't handle it, right? and I just lost it. I'm like, yo, come on, and I scream and I overreact and I just break the laptop. And I have a little brother, right? So he just runs out of the room screaming, Bryden's lost his mind. And I'm like, and I just walk out of the room. And then
Bro, it's still you broke it.
yo,
Like you broke the laptop, yeah.
The way you're emphasizing it, I would agree so much, because I remember how much I had to freaking beg and do chores and be a good child for that next laptop. And then when I got it, I freaking cleaned it, and, polished it and like spat on it whenever there was a dust particle, and made sure it was like squeaky clean. And
Yuck.
oof, seriously, man, like after that, I just realized the value of that thing. It was so precious to me, because I was like, yo, shit. Okay. So anyways, to sum up this video or podcast, whatever you're watching it on, oh, by the way, we're available on Spotify. By now, I think by the time episode 2 is out, we should be out on Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, YouTube. That's where the first episode was posted, and then it got released to everything else. Anchor, that's our beautiful host. Since we're not famous enough to actually host ourselves. Once again, we would just love to thank everyone for coming into this episode, tuning in. I mean, giving us your time, giving us your energy, your whatever, taking off a little part of your time to listen to this. Give us your feedback, give us your love. Subscribe if you're on YouTube, follow us if you're on Spotify, do the needful on the other platforms. This is, Bryden, Maz, Kiran, and the very talented musician, gamer, philanthropist, whatever you want to call her, Anaum Kazi,
Mafia
joining
boss.
us.
Mafia
Yeah,
boss.
yeah.
Don't forget Mafia boss.
The AKA cat person, Anaum Kazi, thank you so much for joining us today. This is what the cast, and we'll be seeing you next week.
Signing off, comrades. See you next episode.
Okay.
All right. Let's take it.
Keep
Let's
the
take
okay and the yas also down.
Okay, let's take it from the
Nice.
top. 3, 2,
Yeah.
1. What
What
the
the
cast?
cast?
What
Oh.
cast?
What the
What
cast?
the cast?
Oh yes.
Podcast.
Cast the
Stop
what?
recording now.
Dogma.